everyone. We're trying to get this going. This is a live streaming service. Refresh my YouTube page. And it's not showing up. Live. All right, everyone. Yeah, okay. So it doesn't appear that the YouTube is working. Kim, can you confirm that?
Yeah, it's not working.
Yeah. Okay. All right, everyone. So we're going to shift it up. We're not going to wait the end of the day. Second here. Live stream. Confirm that.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay. Oh, it is live on the Conscious Awakening Network, but it's not live on the YouTube. All right, moving forward. Hi, everyone. So I'm glad I invited some people to the Zoom here. There's been a lot of confusion on my side regarding what time did this start, how do we get the live working, and so on and so forth. So thank you for joining. My sister Kim's my co-host. She's just going to help answer any questions that may show up in the chat room, the chat window, and pop in any other information regarding some coupon codes and things like that. So again, welcome to the Accelerated Ascension podcast. Make my finger straight there. So the show here, yeah, the show will get a little easier as we go through. But ultimately, the show is here to provide a platform for me to share what's going on, not only in my 3D world, but in everything else that happens to me. And there's a lot of things that happen often in my spiritual world, if you will. There's always an evolution, there's always a development, there's always something that's moving the needle with me. It seems like nearly daily. So the platform is going to provide you guys to listen, and if you resonate with what's going on, you're going to receive healing codes and other things during the show. As I've mentioned in the past, if you haven't heard, by just hanging out with me, you'll receive the healing, you'll receive the frequency upgrades, if you will, if you're ready for them. The other thing the show is going to do is handle knowledge, information, and tools for your ascension. Now, let me just kind of throw this out there right now. When we talk about the ascension journey, it's been a long journey, right? I mean, every time we turn around, there's something new about the ascension, right? People will go inside to raise their frequency. Other people have the understanding, if you will, that there's going to be a great event. What do they call that? The solar flash or something like that that's going to happen. And we're going to, hey, it's right at the front door. It's here, right? Looking for that external event, a lot of folks are following the politics or following, everything else happening globally, looking for those signs that the ascension's happening for them. They're looking outwards. This show isn't about looking outwards. This show is about going inwards to go on your own ascension journey without needing the external world to validate it or to provide the validation for you. You don't need it. What you need to do is just go inside. So we're going to talk about the knowledge around that, the information around it, and tools that'll help you on your journey itself. And then again, it's a platform for me to share the world, the evolution that's happening with me. And again, it happens a lot. So first things first, just so you guys are aware, I did create a coupon code. So I think my sister put it in the window there. If not, yeah. So what's the coupon code again, real quick?
Got this.
Yeah, you got this. Right. So if you go to my website, kenlloydofficial.com, and you sign up for the transformational healing event, or you purchase a session with me, you can use the coupon code, you've got this, and I believe it's 15% off. The other things I do want to mention is I just added a 25-minute or a half-hour session for those people that don't need an hour. What's happening here is when I do my healing work, it's happening so fast now that we're literally spending half the time just chatting about anything and everything, which is beautiful. Don't get me wrong. But if you're there to heal and you're there for very specific reasons, let's cut it down. Let's save you some money and let's just jump in and do the work. So that's why we have the 30-minute sessions that are coming up. So to start off, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Ken Lloyd, and I'm going to talk about my event or my story, but I'm going to give you the cliff notes. If you go to my YouTube channel, kenlloyd.official, you'll notice there's a Conscious Awakening Network video in there from, I believe it's November 11th. I was out there in Sedona with my friend Sunshower Rose. I see her up there. So in Sedona with that crowd, doing an event, and I was invited onto the Conscious Awakening Network to tell my story. So I recommend watching that video for the entire story, if you will. And then, yeah, I'm going to bring you up to speed real quick and then take you from that moment forward because a lot has changed since November. So I'm with the Color Walk-In, and in spring of 2018, I had a near-death experience. So up before that time, I was a self-taught cybersecurity entrepreneur. No formal education, no religion, no spirituality, no doctrine, none of that. In 2018, I was selling my company and it was quite stressful. And that stress is what led to my near-death experience. 3 weeks prior to the experience, my deceased relatives were talking to me, just like you would if you were a medium, I'm guessing at the time. I later found out that when people get ready to cross over, family starts talking to them. Well, that's the experience I had. The near-death experience itself was uneventful. It was 2 minutes of me laying in bed, very angry at whatever it was, and my back arched up, and I was locked in position. Literally couldn't move for 2 minutes, and I mean I was arched up. It was crazy, and I felt something come out of my body. Fell asleep. Literally, my near-death experience. Right? I didn't wake up all healed. I had a brain tumor at the time. No, that wasn't gone. I actually had to have surgery for that. But what happened here, I later found out, is that the thing that came out of my body was my root chakra. And the root chakra is what holds all those lower vibrational emotions and events and those things that we hang on to in life. The abuse, the anger, the emotional sadness and things like that are held in the root chakra. When the universe, let's just say the universe, went ahead and pulled that out, they pulled all of my trauma out from past lives all the way up until that moment. I still had to work on trauma that I was going through, but it was all gone. And it was interesting enough, I didn't even know it. I woke up a little peaceful, a little bit more just general, because I was pretty angry at that time. So let's fast forward, right? So the next day, nobody talked to me anymore. Deceased relatives stopped talking to me, and it set me down this path of why could I do it then? And I couldn't do it anymore. And when we have these things happen in our lives that are so moving, you chase it. You want to know what happened. Something completely out of the ordinary happened. So I did, and I started reading. I started going to psychics, and I took energy healing classes. And at the end of the day, I found out I was able to heal people, through friends and family, and again through the courses I had took. And things kind of changed though. And again, I'm just giving cliff notes here, right? If you want the full story, you can go to my YouTube channel. But in December 2020, I got what I call my first download. And that was, I went into my DNA because I could see the inside of the DNA and everything at the time, and was shown this particular pattern to do. And I did it. And the whole thing opened up, and some ETs showed up called the Craigs, and it's Kregs. And the Craigs are my family, one of my families, if you will. And they informed me I was the fifth one. There was four of them there. So that was a huge turning point. And what had happened is I had brought my frequency up, and they had come down. They're 17th dimensional ETs. They had come down. We were able to connect, and that's when to jump out NET. So you're going to hear me talking light language, and that is them talking to me. I have 14 versions of me in and around me, and I'll get to that in just a moment. But when I got that download and I did the thing, what happened here is my body started tingling, and it continued to tingle, and it still tingles to this day. When I sit still, my face will go numb, and it's a beautiful numbness. My arms, my legs, everything has this really gentle, mostly gentle, sometimes it's a little intense feeling of numbness that comes across it. Took me a while to figure that out as well. But what was happening here is they were indeed altering my body, my DNA structure, the cells in my body to hold frequencies. Um, this is important because when a person, you have somebody work on you, you go to a psychic, you go to a Reiki healer, you go to anything, what happens is the energy just flows through the body, their vessel, and it comes out. That's not what happens with me. The energy flows in and it stays in me permanently. So it stays in this field around me. So as I mentioned, I'm a walk-in. I have 14 other soul aspects inside of my body, if you will. And it's not creepy, it's not mental. They don't talk to me like that. But they've had done some amazing things. And I'm going to talk about the things they've done to me and things that are coming up in today's show. So the healing that I'm doing is pretty phenomenal. The other day I looked up the definition of a miracle, right? And what is a miracle? And a miracle is something that happens in a positive light without explanation, no logic, no understanding, no way to validate it, I guess, is how we look at a miracle. And when I look at that definition and then I look at what I do every day, all day, it's every session is literally a miracle if you think about it. The healing that happens is often instant. Sometimes it takes a little longer, but the pain and discomfort goes away just by me going in there and spending 15, 20 seconds on someone, sometimes more, right? Don't get me wrong. 15, 20 seconds is pretty short. But the idea that somebody can go in there and, get into the unified field and move the energies around to impact somebody's physical body almost instantly is pretty profound. I've been to a lot of healers and you got to tell you, they all work. They really, really do, but they're generally a softer, gentler approach. And you still need to do work yourselves. Um, and this is just a little different. I don't have a modality that I follow, right? I don't have a script. I don't have a book I read. There's no particular thing that I owe credit to. Every time I do this, it changes. Um, the 13 soul aspects in me. There's 14, but the 13 soul aspects in me, they all have a job. They're all future versions of me or advanced versions of me, if you will. Um, one of them is a linguist, right? And that particular version brings over 600 different light languages to me, which allows me to speak light language all the time, but not only verbally, but when I'm in my session and I see other consciousnesses out there, the light language is what I use to communicate with them. And with the light language, I just set the intent on what I'm trying to accomplish. Maybe I'm negotiating, right? I'm negotiating with your guides to, release the idea that you have to have a particular experience that you're going through, and we'll get permission. But that conversation happens in light language. Other times, ET consciousnesses, right? All light language. And again, it changes all the time. I have no idea what they're actually saying in most cases. If I'm doing a one-on-one session with someone and light language comes out, I know what the message is. But typically you'll just look at me and I'll just start rambling on. I'll have to catch myself. So that is kind of the cliff notes of me to start with. In November, actually right after that event on November 11th, again, the one in the Conscious Awakening Network video I was mentioning, shortly after that, I had my higher self introduce himself as Chimeric. I wasn't able to talk to him. Everyone in our life, we all have our tribes. We all have those folks that resonate with us, and we surround ourselves with those who can help us through our journey. And it doesn't matter where your journey's at, there's always those folks. These folks have shown up and they're able to talk to those versions in me, including the higher self Chimeric. So Chimeric is a 22nd dimensional consciousness. He's my higher self. And to put it into perspective, when we talk about numbers, this dimension, that dimension, and, don't get too hung up on it, because there's people out there to tell you there's hundreds and hundreds of dimensions, and perhaps there are in the reality and their version. But for this particular conversation, the 22nd dimension is the highest dimension you can go before you're merged back in with unified field or source, if you will. So, Chimeric's next phase, whatever that is moving back into source. So when the 13 originally showed up, they didn't land very well. And what I mean by that is I lost the ability to feel back in 2018. I couldn't feel energies, couldn't feel emotions. I couldn't feel other people. I mean, I could feel joy, but anything else, there is no connection to. And there still is a lot of that. But this caused a problem. By me not being able to feel other people's energies, I wasn't able to pick up on more of the subtle nuances of what's happening around me. So in early December, uh, her name's Arnarnia. She showed up in my world and she installed a new grounding system, kind of a replacement for the root chakra. Now, since then, the energies in my body have intensified, and that beautiful numbness that I talked about earlier now can get a little pinprickly in the face and a little heavy as these energies get a little more stronger and stronger in me. So, what's the purpose of modifying the body, right? Great question. So, they call me an enigma, an experiment in the universe, if you will. Ultimately, how many different aspects can they put into a human body and allow that body to actually deliver all these codes? When we receive activations and healings, it actually gets a little translated, if you will. So it comes down in this raw form, comes into the human body, gets translated into a form that the human can process. And I don't mean words, right? Just think about a programming code, a certain language. So the human programming language comes down and is delivered. So what happens now is when the codes come down into me, they're translated and they're stored in the body. This means anybody who is within my field, and again, even connected on the show, when you are in the field and you are ready, right? When I say you're ready, I don't mean you're verbally ready. I don't mean you stood up in line and said, I'm ready, but you're ready inside to begin that healing phase or to activate your next gift, whatever those things are, you'll get them. And you'll get them without talking to me. You'll get them on the show right now. Some of you are tuning in. You'll feel the energies kind of increasing as we move through. So when I do a healing on an individual, and I go in there and I work on, cancer, tumors, blood disorders, a lot of allergies. I can go in there into the genetics and the genome and the chromosomes and the DNA and do all that, and they show me how to modify these. And when I do that and the healing happens, what really happened is I created the code. You can call it the human code, the human translation code, as I mentioned earlier. And that code, that programming code, is then stored in the field. And again, when that person shows up that has the same thing I have worked on, their healing code's there. The idea right now, the field is 87 feet around me, and it continues to grow almost daily by a foot or two, because I do check in. By end of March, they're telling me that field will be over 300 feet. And then by December, it's almost a kilometer. Now, what's the point, right? Why do they need to have somebody that has this field to do these healings, right? I should be able to just take appointments and make a connection like, everyone else does, the average, psychic or healer. Well, I'm here to touch the masses, millions of people across the world. And you're on my first broadcast. I have been doing events in Sarasota for the past year, a little bit under the radar. My good friends in Sarasota, Florida at the Cosmic Center have been allowing me the platform to learn how to speak to people and to learn how to work with the audience and just kind of get comfortable in my new clothes, so to speak. And what's interesting, real quick here, is that before all this happened, I was an introvert. Even though I had started 3 companies, I wrote patents and all this, I never wanted to answer an email. I never wanted to take a customer phone call, and I never wanted to be in the room having a meeting. And they weren't bad. I just did not enjoy communicating with people. But when this happened, everything shifted. And now I can get on stage in front of hundreds of people. and there's no anxiety, there's no stage fright, there's no concern, there's no sweaty palms, there's absolutely no anxiety, not even a little bit. And even though I don't even know what I'm going to talk about when I walk up to that stage. When we talk about the different aspects in me, and each one of them have a job, right? On 12/12, December 12th, my higher self chimeric, while he was talking to me before that, my higher self chimeric actually came into my body. I remember it because it was about 8:30 at night, and I got the message, go meditate. And I don't meditate, by the way. I don't spend hours like a yogi on a mountain. No, not me. But I went ahead and I sat down in my chair to meditate, and I was locked in position for 15 minutes. When I say I was locked in position, I couldn't move. And not that I was struggling, right? Not that I was trying to move, don't get me wrong. But there was no twitching in my fingers, my nose, nothing. I was literally locked in position, and I could feel these energies coming down into the crown and into the body. And I started asking a lot of questions. As soon as it started, I'm inside and I'm talking to Chimeric, my higher self, and I could tell he was busy. His voice was also fast, and then he just shut me up. He's like, "Listen, this is not the time to be asking questions. I'm a little busy." He literally said that. Yeah, yeah, totally. So then he shut off my ability to communicate. And what I mean by that is I could feel everything happening, but I was completely disconnected from the physical body. I couldn't form a thought. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when's the last time you couldn't think for any period of time? Doesn't happen, right? We stop talking and our mind starts going, but that happened for a solid 15 minutes. Absolutely no interaction, no thoughts until that was complete. The reason Chimeric had come down is because he is on December 31st, about 11 o'clock in the afternoon, he began a merging process with all of us. So myself and the other 13, we were all merged into a new collective. I call it, for lack of a better word, I call it number 16. So let me clear the air with confusion. I'm still me. I'm still Ken. I'm still here. And those other aspects are here, but we operate as one person, if you will. And it only happens when I'm doing spiritual wonderfulness, right? They don't interfere with my 3D world, my day-to-day stuff. But when I sit down to do these things, they are front and center. And it became really apparent to me the other day. I was doing a group healing, actually. And when I started, the show or the session, just normal me. But then when I started doing the actual meditation, I could sense that it wasn't me actually doing the meditation. My voice, me, it's all me, but I could sense the other aspect of me that handles the meditation, handles the delivery of that process, stepping forward. And this is how this works. As I need a certain gift or talent or thing, that aspect of me that holds it kind of shifts forward and kind of dries for a little while. Very, very seamless, right? There's not a lot of chatter in my head, by the way. There's no mental confusion here, but it really is interesting. When we look at how it was previously, I was always looking up to the right to get my information and my messages, or I wait for it to come down. But now it's always inside of me in the center of my chest. So that's where the information, the voices, the intuitiveness comes from. So I've gone through a lot of changes in the past 2 months, rapid changes. And with this merge, my whole world is shifting and changing. My perspective of everything has shifted and changed. The likes and dislikes I used to have, maybe it was boating, riding bikes, whatever it is, those likes and dislikes are all neutralizing. They're fading away. And ultimately, what's happening as the new collective is in here, we all want to create a new experience to find out what these new likes and dislikes are. Okay. They're here to have a human experience as well. and so my life is shifting so that all of these aspects can then come in to do the thing they need to do. But they're kind of telling me to explain this as well. So as we go through our ascension process, our ascension journey, our our stuff, right? The goal here is to raise our frequency. Okay. And as we raise our frequency, the healing happens and so on and so forth. What happened to me just recently is even though my frequency was high, at least in my understanding was quite high, now that these other chimeras come in and merge all of us in, I require a even higher frequency to operate in the 3D world. So they are shifting things in my world to ensure that even the environment I'm in is the elevated frequencies, which means that new likes, new dislikes, new emotions, and things like that. I will tell you this: I still have no ability to feel or literally experience those lower emotions of fear and anger and judgment and vengeance and fill in the blank, right? I don't even experience those. I can't. And in certain cases, it's actually a detriment. It impacts the idea of being human in some cases. But yeah, I've witnessed that lately. The emotions aren't there. The memories that I have all my memories, but I have no emotion connected to any memory. So I can look back at childhood. I can look back at anything that happened in my life, and it's like watching it without the energetic connection to it or the impact, if you will. So I'm going to get back to the feel. I know I'm jumping around a little bit here. I'm trying to fill as much as I can. And again, right, it's my first show. I'm gonna stumble around, and we're all gonna have fun and fall down together, right? The field that's around me, like I mentioned, is 87 feet. It's more than just energy, right? It's more than just feeling. And when you walk into the room, and like I said, many of you on the call, when you walk into the room, you will indeed feel a shift. You will feel, especially for those of you who have done the spiritual work and what it feels like to feel energy, you will feel the presence. But there's again more than happening. So again, the healing codes are in there. They are now installing ascension codes. My last group healing I had, they brought in 3 soul activations or soul codes, which was brand new for me. And ultimately, when the spiritual community talks about activations, DNA activations, we hear that a lot, right? They're working on the body. Yes, everything's energy, but ultimately they're trying to shift and improve the DNA and the etheric and the physical. The soul codes are designed for your soul. They're not designed to necessarily change the physical body. And one of the codes that they put in was a dismantling of the current programming that we have in our soul codes, if you will. So if we take the idea of this reality being a game, just for a moment, please, we don't need to go down that rabbit hole of, my God, the Matrix, right? But bear with me. There are certain rules to this game, certain things that need to be experienced or collectively agreed upon for all of humanity. Perhaps gravity is one of them. Again, I'm just paraphrasing. But these programs have kept the human from moving into its next evolutional phase. And this is where we're at right now with the Ascension. So soul codes, the programming, the releasing of the programming is beginning to happen for those who are walking into the field. They'll receive these upgrades. Again, soul codes. The other thing that has recently happened I want to touch on is something called the Living Library. My good friend Patricia's here. And by the way, I want to give a huge shout out real quick to Patricia. Patricia Walls is an author, and she was given the gift of being able to access something called the Hall of Records. Phenomenal. And I've had an opportunity to experience it, and I'll tell you a little bit more how that impacts me and everyone around me in a moment. But the Hall of Records is not to be confused with the Akashic Records in any way, shape, or form. To put it in perspective, the Akashic Records is a very slimmed down, thinned out version of a specific person's history, if you will. And again, not the whole thing, and just fragments of it. It also doesn't allow you to make any changes. As we say in the computer world, it's read only. You go in, right, and you see this particular thing. Oh, I did that in my past lifetime. Now let me go work on it in, this reality. The Hall of Records is very, very different. It allows you to go in there and see the whole story if you so choose. It allows you to see all the records that are associated with the question. And perhaps the question is, show me all the lifetimes or all the records that impact my ability for confidence, as an example, or abundance, or impact my disease or my illness, right? Those all show up, and there's certain things you can do at that point to remove those records. Patricia is the expert. And if you're looking for the next thing, reach out Patricia Walls. And she just put up a website, and I believe it's called the Hall of Records official.com. In fact, I actually got that listed here. I want to post that. We talk about tools. This is a tool. If you really, really, yep, you got that, Kim? So let me just,
Correct. Ken,
yeah,
before, we do have a question about your
yeah.
entity.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Let's go ahead and just kind of interact. We don't need to wait for me to yap all night.
Yeah, we
I'm
do
not
have
that
a
much
question.
fun.
We've got a couple of questions. The first one is from Rob. You've said these 14 aspects are part of you, but are they also independent entities separate from you and existing in their own reality, wherever and whatever that might be?
What a fantastic question. And yes, absolutely. So our consciousness can span multiple locations. Bilocation is the word that we use as humans, and it's a little different, but it has the ability to be everywhere. Like, what is that movie? Everywhere, all at once, all the time. I don't know the name of that movie, but it's the same thing. So while the consciousnesses are having an experience with me, they're also having their own reality, their own experiences, and their location. And I don't know where they're from yet. Right. So, as my frequency rises over the next few months, and I still have a few more months of integration, then it'll be full-fledged conversation and connection and understanding of, what they are and what they bring to the table and how I'm helping them as well. So I hope that was a question that was answered for you, Rob.
That was a great one.
Yeah, yeah.
The next one is, what is the price point on the individual sessions?
This is a great question. So it is going to get a little confusing here. Bear with me. When you see me in person, and I will be at the Sarasota, Florida Cosmic Center, February 11th through the 13th. There, I'll be doing some private sessions. I'll be doing a lecture, and then I'll have my transformational healing event. When you see me in person at an event, the prices are higher. The group healing event is $100, and the private in-person sessions are $375. Now, virtually. You don't have to see me in person, guys, at all. And if you've seen some of the other videos I've done that are posted in the Conscious Awakening Network, etc., you'll know that you can ask a question and I can actually heal you over text messaging. And I get text messages that I'm driving and I'm still doing the work. You don't have to see me in person unless you so choose. The in-person sessions are $325 for 1 hour. I just added today a 30-minute session. The reality is there are 25-minute sessions and 55-minute sessions because I need a little bit of break in between my calls. But I believe that's 180 for the 25-minute session. And I got to tell you, since the integrations have happened over this past month and a half, my sessions are really, really rapid. In fact, I find, often half the session of an hour-long session is me just talking to an individual about the things they're going through and giving them, let's say, the enlightenment that they're looking for or some understanding of who they are. But if you don't need that and you're coming to me just to heal something or just to be activated, if you're ready for that, you can just do the 30-minute session. Now, finally, the transformational group healing event, which I got to tell you is highly recommended. I get a lot of people telling me they have out-of-body experiences. They can feel the energies in the body. Angels come down to them, so on and so forth. Those are $75 over Zoom. They're bi-weekly. The next one's February 1st. I believe it's on a Thursday, and it's 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll be having another time zone for Europe here sometime in February. So what happens in those events, the energy is pretty intense. Your frequency is elevated from 3D to 5D within the hour. You will feel vibrating or buzzing or whatever word you want to use. As I raise up your frequency, the conditions that I'm working on I say I'm working on, right? The team's working on. Because in a group session, I don't know what's happening. It's not like I say, okay, everybody, this Thursday we're having a group session and everybody with the back problem show up. Everyone wait till next week for the other issue. It doesn't work like that, right? You just show up and you go through what I call follow the bouncing ball, which is just a visualization process as the team works on you and whatever needs to happen. Quite intense. The energy is felt from that will go on for 7 days. And what I mean by that is you will feel it. You'll feel emotional, a lot of tears, a lot of crying, a lot of purging. Some people will have emotions they don't know where they came from. I had one person that didn't feel worthy for 2 or 3 days until it actually purged and left. And she didn't realize that was buried inside of her. With the group healing sessions, they're working on every aspect of you. Just because you show up for me to heal the shoulder, no, it may happen. It often does. But everything else in your life is beginning to raise and elevate and to raise your frequency. They're going to remove those very things holding you back. It's not just physical healing, it's life healing. It is soul level healing, right? You come here to purge karma, if you will, at the soul level. That's done. That happens. The physical body, the emotional body, and your life. Those things in your life, those blockages in your life, the financial, the career, the relationship, those three big categories and everything in the middle, those are impacted as well. See, everything's energy. And when we have blockages in life, the energy is stuck around us and it keeps delivering us the same experience over and over and over until that blockage is removed. The idea of lack, right? The idea of a poor relationship or an abusive relationship, it's stuck energy. It's just there. We keep doing it and doing it. Don't get me wrong, it's a little more deeper than that and some of those topics, but when that energy is moved, it flows. The opportunities start coming in, the relationships start showing up, the job opportunities. I've had people making money while we're in the session. They said, I haven't had any sales on the website for weeks. And they come out of their vehicle, boom, they've got sales. I had one lady who, psychic person up in Michigan. She didn't have any customers in her shop for 3 weeks, none. So she called me up, asked me what was happening. And I told her, I says, they were teaching you a lesson. Are you ready to finish the lesson? And it was on a Monday. And if I believe most spiritual shops are closed on Mondays, hers was. And during the call, and within an hour after that, she had 6 people at her front door asking her to open up shop. So these things happen. Once the energy is removed, it's delivered. So again, it's all across the board. So that's the transformational healing stuff. Kim, is there other questions in there? Did I miss?
Yes, there is. Okay. Patricia says it's an investment in yourselves, totally worth the energy exchange. Yes, it is. Thank you.
By the way, feel free to Patricia, the one who just sent that message in the chat window. For those of you on Zoom, feel free to message her directly if you want more information on the Hall of Records. And I'm going to get into Ken's version of that in just a second. But go ahead, Kim.
And it needs to be Patricia because there's also a Pat.
Oh, yeah, Patricia, yeah.
Yes. Janera says, I'm an energy healer and booked a session for tomorrow. My guides are urging me towards group healing. Will my upgrade happen in real time?
I tell you about, and you said the upgrades never happen in real time, such as that. Even when I go through my upgrades, right, there's an integration period of 3 to 7 days. Okay. And depending on where you're at in your evolutional process, they can be traumatic shifts, right? Telepathy coming online, your ability to speak light language, so on and so forth. Or they can be more subtle, where if you're an energy practitioner, the tools that you have in your modality begin expanding, right? You have more tools in the tool belt, or the tools you're using now become more streamlined, more efficient, which is what happens to me every month. I swear they keep changing how I do things. Cool. Was there any other questions, Kim?
Yep. Cheryl says, as more humans go through the ascension process, what effect is this going to have on the mass consciousness of the planet? Question. Is there a direction or awareness that will develop as the planet itself resonates on a higher frequency?
So as we each do our individual work, we are each individually adding to the frequency of the collective as if you were raising the water in a bucket. The more work we do, the higher the frequency. It impacts the entire planet. As you begin to raise your frequency, you'll begin getting in touch with yourself, getting in touch with nature, getting in touch and being more connected to the collective consciousnesses. As you begin connecting to the collective consciousnesses, you will feel that as the ascension itself. As we all ascend into the higher frequencies, the reality outside of us begins to change. That was them, by the way, coming through and answering that question. Did I answer that question, Kim? Direction awareness. Yeah. So you'll again, the message here: stop looking outwards. Turn the news off. I can't tell you enough. Turn the news off. I haven't watched news in 7 years. I do watch movies. Don't get me wrong, but even those movies, I can't watch violence. I literally get sick. Can't have my eyes open or hear that happening. But that being said, turn off everything in your life that is a lower frequency. And this includes friends that are argumentative, if you will, those friends. Remove your judgment of others and your judgment of self. Again, there's not one thing that you're going to do that is going to move you up that escalation ladder fast. And they're actually laughing at me. They said, no, that's not true, because they're talking to me. Okay, so maybe I'm that one thing that's going to move you up a little faster. Okay, but when you're doing your own work, everything counts, whether it be the food you choose, right? Make poisons, if you will. Pardon the expression. That's what I call that. To the way we communicate with others. One of the biggest things that have helped me on my journey is the idea of polarity. I don't have the ability to choose a side, political side, between this or that, none. You could come in here and ask me about a particular, thing that's happening in the world, and I won't answer the question, even though I could. I can go in there and tell you what's happening with the war, with player number 1 or player number 2, and all of these things, but I won't have those conversations, because the moment I begin speaking on a topic like that, I've just chosen a side of polarity, and now the audience is choosing a side of polarity based on the influence that I provide. So those are topics of things I don't engage in the real life, and I don't engage in sessions or otherwise. So yeah, everything counts, period. The more work you do, the more you're going to feel. The more you feel, the more connected you are. You're all connected, but the more you're going to recognize that connection. Cool.
So Trish says you also experience more synchronicities.
Yeah, correct. Absolutely. When you become more aware of the unified field and the energies there, this is how the universe talks to us. They don't have to talk in your ear. They don't have to come down. You don't have to sit in meditation for hours and hours waiting for the sunshine to light bright up in the dark room, because it doesn't have to happen like that. Look at the synchronicities. Don't deny them. Recognize everything that's happening to you is there for a reason. Whether it be, finding a quarter down, finding a dollar bill on the sidewalk, it's still a synchronicity. It's an abundance thing. Pick it up. Pick up that penny. Whatever. You're showing the world, you're showing the universe, hey, I'll take the abundance in whatever form it shows up. Little things like that. Synchronicities are very important. Thank you, Trish.
Yes. Stacy says, I had sent a message that I didn't feel anything and left very confused when I joined the group.
I don't understand that question. I sent a message that I didn't feel anything and felt very confused when I joined the group. So I don't understand that. So Nate, can you raise your hand? And Kim, let's see if we can find Nate and get him unmuted.
There's not okay, I'm looking for Nate.
Oh, is it Stacy?
Am I looking for Stacy? No, I think
I'm here.
Oh, hi. Okay, cool. I apologize. I didn't understand the question. Could you kind of rephrase it?
Yeah, after I'm reading it, I'm like, okay, they're not going to get that.
Yeah, totally. That's all good. Go ahead. What's going on?
So, like, I did one of your video ones in the beginning of January, I think, somewhere around there, and I just didn't. I left really confused. I didn't understand what you were saying, the shadows and all that stuff, and
was this a healing event, or was this just a? It's a healing event. One of the recorded healing events.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was like from 7 to 9 or something.
Yeah. So let me ask you the question. Why did you sign up or join or listen to the video? What was the intention before you started to hit the button?
I've been dealing with a lot of illnesses and just one after another, and then
Yep.
I had childhood trauma and
Sure. Yeah, you don't need to
my
go
whole
into all the
life.
detail. Yeah, you don't know. You don't need to go into the details
So yeah,
specifically, right? But let me ask you this: has any healing been working for you? Any practitioner? Because I'm thinking the answer is probably not so much because you are blocked. And I'm asking you, have you had success with any other practitioners?
no,
Okay, that's what's going on. You are intentionally blocked, and I do see that. And you have been blocked a long, long time. Okay,
it's like
so you're
no
not going to
one
feel.
can help me.
What's that?
I said it's like none of them can help me.
Yeah, I can help
You
you when
know.
you're ready. When you're ready, I can help you. Okay. And by the way, I can feel the energy moving through my body. Hold on a second. Shalakotori ni manenika ali shikiti. Shilikupugu yusu mu ya ni atari kanari kadari kadakaro barish kadari amanti kinisiti apa ni tishkiti kariashiti ti shipukutu ya ni atari yamani ni shiti kadari kadari tishidur kupukutu ya pani tishkita puro tishkiti tishiti adari kadushitu pukuno. No idea what just happened, but that was directly to you. They were talking to the different aspects, and I say aspects, but not in the same context of my aspects, different aspects of you, letting them know what's happening to them on the inside. When they're ready for you to be ready and you're ready for everything, you'll get the nudge. Okay. But that's what's going on with you.
Okay.
So
Because I've tried to like do a in-person one with you one time, and then I couldn't.
Yeah. What do you know why that is?
No.
Because you're blocked. You couldn't actually find yourself to hit that button to hit get a session, because the second you do that, the energies are starting to be delivered. And when we have something actively blocking us inside of us, they're not going to let us hit that button. And we won't know why. We'll be distracted. We'll feel like, maybe not me, right? And then nothing happens. And this is the way the game is played. Okay.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Again, so I'm glad we asked that question, because I was like, I'm not sure what she was talking about.
It's funny because you said that last time. You were like, you didn't understand one of my questions, and I'm like, no one understands my questions. But it's
Yeah. No, I understand you more than you can imagine at this moment. So let's Kim, unless there's any other questions in there, I want to shift gears
Yeah.
and
We've got
talk
one
with.
more.
Yeah.
Janera says, how can I confirm if I'm a soul walk-in?
I'm sorry, who was the name and who was this?
Janeris asks, how can I confirm if I'm a soul walk-in?
Can I get her to come up, please?
Hi.
Hi, Janaris. I don't want to take up too much time, and I certainly don't want to do any personal questions, but can I just ask you real quick why you have that suspicion?
Ego deaf. I used to work in cybersecurity as a management consultant. My son left the earth, transitioned in 2020, and came back and been guiding me. So I've been on this journey alone with no mentors, just synchronicities, and saw a blood clot in a person's leg, scanned the leg, miracle. And then my guides told me, get ready. And I just leaned in and on my own learning. And then I came across your video this morning. It was crazy. And I think this makes sense.
You've had this for life, your gift.
Yeah.
Okay. And just for clarity, I think, did you say your son exited?
Jared, yeah. Jared, yeah.
Then I heard you say he came back. I was confused with that statement.
Yes.
When you say he came back.
Meaning he transitioned off the earth, through death. And about 4 weeks later, I knew it was him guiding me because of a conversation I had with him previous to his leaving the earth.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. I just wasn't quite clear on the statement. I don't believe you're a walk-in. I believe you're a natural. And the natural is not a buzzword, guys. It's not a code word, right? This you have gifts that are coming online. I'm 52, right? And I always say to myself, well, why the hell at 52? Yeah, I could have been doing this in my 20s, right? It's the time. People are being activated. 2024 is going to be a huge shift. And one of the messages from Kimeric, I channeled this earlier today. I'm just going to read this. I'm not going to channel it. He says, There are many changes coming to all aspects of your reality at this time. This will look like chaos. It'll feel like chaos and ultimately present like chaos in any and all aspects of your lives and others around you at this time. This is a churning of the waters, which provides an accelerated path forward to reach the collective's ascension goals and the individual's goals. Ken's body and energy field has indeed been altered to contain the very tools needed to accelerate the ascension journey for all individually and collectively across all realities, frequency bands, timelines, and dimensions. The tools in him will continue to evolve, and I'll talk about that. You're becoming more sensitive because it's time. Okay. So tap in a little deeper. You have some surprises waiting for you. Like every corner you turn is going to be a surprise, and in a beautiful way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So the
Mark
go ahead,
says,
Kim.
Mark says being ready for the healing and all that's possible is key in this process.
It is. Is that my buddy Mark from Nevada? I think I might have been him.
Mark,
If it is, yeah. If Mark, if that's you, just let me know because I did the name. You have to be ready, right? You know, just because I have this field around me, Santa Fe, yeah. Just because I have this field around me, and you walk into my field, doesn't mean you're going to be healed. It doesn't mean you're going to have your gifts activated, right? Because you may not be ready. Period. There's nobody can impact the energy of another person. It's the person itself that has to allow that connection to happen. And when we say allow, I'm not talking about through our words. I'm not talking through the Tony Robbins, NLP stuff, which I love the guy, don't get me wrong. But we're talking about the soul level. Inside, we need to be ready. We need to be ready to take on the things that are going to grow us. So yeah, you need to be ready. Thank you. Big point, Mark. I do appreciate that.
Yep. And Jesse says, I have a question. I had an experience yesterday with my client. I think my brother came through, but I don't know because I don't trust what happened and what I heard.
Jesse, you're sensitive. You're sensitive. All right. And you are getting those breakthroughs. You are getting more information. We'll take that offline, and I'm happy to kind of guide you through whatever may have been said. Okay. So let me get back into, before I jump into the questions, because there's two more things I want to do. One, I just want to talk about this living library. I want to take everyone on a free gift, right? I want to take everyone on a quick meditation, right? This is what I do. I'm here. I mean, I'm not here just to take. I'm here to give all day long. So going back to the field and my beautiful friend, Miss Patricia Walls in the Hall of Records. So a little over 2 weeks ago, and I've known this for a year. I didn't know what it was, how it was going to happen, or even what it meant. But about 2 weeks ago, about 3 a.m, I get the message, go into the Hall of Records, which I did, thanks to my friend Patricia. And I go in there and they take me to the rooftop, and there's an energy there, consciousness, that asked me who I was. And they told me to tell you I'm the first, whatever that means, right? And she says, oh, you're the first. And she says, oh, you're the first. And about 15 seconds later, she says, it's done. I'm like, what? She says, they've installed a holographic fractal of the Hall of Records in my field. And over the past 2 weeks, it has been integrating into my field. Remember, my field, you can think of the field around me, and we talk about the energy field. You can think of that as a big storage facility, right? I'm storing so much stuff in there. And they literally are saying I'm at 3% capacity right now with everything happening. As you follow my journey, there'll be some amazing, incredible, eye-opening, oh my God kind of things happening this year. But the Living Library is installed now. And I asked, I'm like, what is the purpose? I mean, we have Patricia. Patricia's amazing, and what she's got is amazing. And it's a different presentation of the Hall of Records. Same information, full record sets of everything, right? Past, present, future. It contains the history of humanity, the future, technologies, if you're a science guy, right? And it's time for you to have that next breakthrough. You could go into the Living Library and get that breakthrough. No different than Einstein or Edgar Casey and whatever those things are, right? You're able to go into this living library and do that. My friend Trish and Rob, who are on the call yesterday, and by the way, Trish and Rob run a podcast also. And Trish, if you don't mind, or Rob, could you guys put your podcast information in the chat window? I'd like to share, your show. You guys have amazing shows going on, and the world needs to know about you as well. But with that being said, I went in there and I took Rob into the living library. Let me rephrase that. I didn't take Rob in the living library. I went into the living library, right, which is inside of me, to bring up the records of Rob relating to, man, Rob, I think it was your shoulder, right? And I didn't do any healing on him. I just went in there and I burnt the records. And then I went over to Rob and said, Rob, what's going on? He's like, it's done, right? So what's happening here, it's kind of a hybrid approach, meaning that when I go into the living library and I do whatever they're showing me, it's using those codes that are in that library. It's using my gifts to do the healing. This living library was not installed in me for me. It was installed in me for you in the world to be able to access this living library, to get in there and do your own accelerated ascension work. So, imagine the idea of going to the local psychic, your trusted advisor in the spiritual world. And they're like, listen, you've got this past life thing that's getting you down and it's causing all these issues. Well, what do you do with that? Right? What do you do with it? You got to figure out, how do I break that connection? What work do I need to do? What lessons do I need to do? What modality do I need to go see? Who do I got to go see now to do that next step? Not anymore. You would go in there and say, hey, show me the records. I'm just paraphrasing, by the way, but show me the records associated with the shoulder. I'm going to burn them. Now, that is a very easy way. There's Patricia right there. It's an easy way to explain it. I will tell you right now, I'm learning it. I'm tasked with coding or programming the living library. Let me give you an example. One of the things that I've coded with it is the inability for anybody to access the records that have attachment or entities on them, right? If you got cooties, I don't want you in my field. I mean, we're being a little funny, right? So I literally coded the program that when you go to access the living library, if you have those issues, a red light will go off. And I'm just using a metaphor. And that's instant recognition that, okay, well, now we need to go remove those things. That's just the first program. It's going to get easier and easier. So ultimately what this means is when I teach others, and there will be programs to access this, and they go in there to do the thing they need to do, they get access to my gifts for those purposes. There'll be people that do it just for themselves. There'll be those that are trained to do it for others. There'll be those that are trained to just look, so on and so forth. Again, my resident expert is Patricia, and she's helping me understand this as well. But yeah, so that's what's happening, and that's just this month's gift. Okay. There's more stuff coming this year, and as that arrives, you'll know. You will know. So I'm gonna kind of pause there for a second, and if there's any questions, Kim, were there any questions on YouTube, by the way? Just curious.
Actually, we have.
Did show up on YouTube, did it?
I didn't see it on YouTube.
Yeah, that's right. Because I thought we had YouTube Live, and I must have did that right. So that's fine.
Brooke
No worries.
Brooke is asking a question or has a statement. This might be a personal one. She says, I've had a huge shift with a realtor this week and feel we need to end this toxic relationship. Can you tell me more about that? Thanks, Brooke. And then she put in our house sale.
Yeah, so we're gonna hold off on those questions right now.
Yeah.
All right. So I mean, I do my transformational healing events, right, where you can come in, you can go through the event, and then at the end of it, I open up those questions for healing and such. And I'm going to do some on the show, but I want to make sure. And by the way, there's Rob talking about his Mystical Underground podcast. I don't want to go down that, because what's going to happen here, as soon as I heal someone, the whole conversation's going to get, that's what happened on Monday night. I think it was. It just started snowballing over and over, which is beautiful. But let's do this. I like everyone, just to kind of take a moment. Just close your eyes and relax. It's going to take you on a quick 10 or 15-minute journey. I'm just connecting everyone in the group. To the crystal grids. Now listen, I'm going to walk everyone through a meditation or visualization. If you don't get it, don't worry about it. You don't have to follow the bouncing ball. And whatever shows up for you, shows up for you. And please allow that to happen. Don't fight an experience that's been trying to give to you, whether it's an out of body or otherwise. Just allow yourself to relax into it. They're asking me to go into the living library. So the living library also allows me to work on the group versus individual as well. And this is really the first, maybe the second time I've had an opportunity to do this. There won't be anything for you guys to do, so just sit tight. We want me to do this before I begin the meditation. And we're going to be working on past life, current, and future karma. That's interesting. They say future, but that's okay. Okay, there are attachments on there for a lot of folks. We're just going to go ahead and team clean the house real quick. Thank you. Show me all the records across all dimensions, timelines, realities, frequency bands, and states of being. So regarded to past, present, future karma for all. Everybody in the session today and on replay. They brought helpers and there was a lot of records. Shit. Like a construction crew. Let's go ahead and burn these, please. Let's get prepared for the healing. Okay, they're telling me to move on. We can do that. So again, that's literally just all I need to do for the moment. They're going to continue that process. So now it's up to you guys. And again, you can't get this wrong. So relax, take a breath in, breath out. Please visualize tree roots growing from the bottom of the heart, down the torso, and down both legs. So those tree roots will continue to grow down, past the knees, past the ankles, and into Mother Earth. She's ready and waiting for all of us. She's opened a pathway down. Grow those tree roots down further and further, all the way down, no resistance, until you find the core of the earth, the center of the earth, the iron core. Take those tree roots and wrap them 3 times around, counterclockwise. 1, 2, and 3. Just sit tight. Visualize the pink light from the Sirius star system coming down through the crown, anchoring into the top of the heart, please. A little brighter, a little stronger. Visualize the white light from the Octana star system. The white light's coming down through the crown, down, and anchoring into the top of the heart as well. When you get it anchored, grow it a little brighter, a little stronger, a little thicker, lots of love. Visualize the red mist around you. Beautiful red cool mist like a fog. This is unconditional love for self and others. This will help release the judgment and the shame that we impose on others, unintentionally or intentionally. Visualize that red mist coming closer and touching the skin. It's beautiful, cool, and moist. Your skin absorbs it. It's thirsty. Allow the body to absorb the red mist through the skin. And as you do this, visualize that red mist filling up the inside of you and moving around, just moving gently around in all directions. Just free flowing, touching every cell in your body. Shodiya, feel the love from this, please. I'll give you a moment. Just feel it. Feel it. Feel it. You owe it to yourself to feel the love. Just allow yourself. Please visualize below your feet a 3-foot golden disc, golden plate, if you will, a circle. You're standing on this. And if you look at yourself from the observer point of view, we are looking at your body on that disc. You will look like a hologram. You'll be able to see through you. And as you look, you'll begin to notice beautiful violet, soft violet and white flame coming up through the disc. It doesn't recognize your body. It flows in and out, straight above your ankles, moving into your calves, but it's all around the bottom of you. It's very soft, very gentle. And again, it flows as if you're not there. So Saint Germain's violet flame, he's here. He's confirmed he's here. Thank you. Working on all the energies around you to purge, to remove, neutralize, and shift the very blockages in your life that you've asked for. Allow the flame to go higher and higher. It's above the knees now. It has a personality. It does have a personality, does it ever? Higher and higher. Grows and grows, and it's about the waistline. Now your hands are hanging by your side. And again, you're looking at yourself from the observer perspective. Higher and higher. Waistline. Moving up to the chest. It continues to grow and grow above the shoulders, now above your head. And as you look from the observer view at the flame, you can no longer see your body. And you see these beautiful, beautiful, gently flowing flames going back and forth. Removing these energies that don't serve you anymore. Saint Germain is actually blowing a beautiful dust from the top of you all the way down. And he's being a little funny. He's like, you can call this pixie dust if you'd like. Magic dust. This is energy that he's installing in you for the next 3 days, will continue to keep those energies at bay, to continue to work on the releasing those things that no longer serve you. Above your head, I'd like you to visualize 7 hula hoops, please. Those hula hoops are actually angelic halos, but those are the size of them. And they're solid, beautiful white light, like a round light bulb, if you will. I want you to lower those hula hoops. So that first hula hoop is down by your feet on the floor. And the other one is above you. The top one's above you. The 7th one's above you. And again, you're looking at yourself from the observer point of view. You're looking at yourself in the middle of these 7 angelic halos that are up and down in the body. As you look, you'll notice they're getting brighter and brighter and brighter, and it begins to look like heaven on earth. Becomes so bright you actually can't see your body anymore. It's just heavenly divinity white light in there. The angels have showed up. And they're working on the childhood trauma now. They're looking on the relationship trauma. And the trauma that we've caused on ourselves, that prevent us from having the love that we so desire and seek. Please sit tight. Shukatari nita ni tichi ni tishupo ni tiri tiata ni tari kadishiti kupu kupu ali atine nani ni kadishito. Shutu omo ani ali ni ti shikatari kadishu burkutu umu ma ni. Hai ani shikatu kupu utushiriata. Hai ani ali atishini kadu kupu utushutu upuri tiatari tishikatari katati tichuburikutu shuriati tishikatari shiriatari otoshuri pokoto yamani niya. The angels, Shariatari kadishito rigoto chipurigo, they're going to continue to work on you for the next 4 days. Please visualize a white diamond plasma coming from a place beyond source. It travels through source, it comes down into the top of the head. Immediately comes down and finds the top of your spine. Like a beautiful wet glistening paint, this white diamond plasma is pouring itself down your spine rapidly. You pass the shoulder blades, down into the arch of the lower back. Reaches all the way down until it hits your tailbone. Observe your tailbone getting brighter and brighter and brighter. And as you look at the tailbone, you'll begin to see white tree roots growing from the tailbone. Allow those white tree roots to grow again down both each of the legs. You got this, guys. Perfect. A little further, down past the knees, down past the ankles. And again, put these white tree roots into Mother Earth. And down, and down, and down, until you find the core of the earth. And again, 3 times counterclockwise. 1, 2, and 3. Everything's perfect. It always is perfect. Visualize a green tube of energy. On one end of the tube is your heart, shaped like a beautiful red rose, and opened, wide open. And again, folks, whatever you see, allow that to happen. You don't have to use my descriptions. Whatever is shown is the exact thing you need. Don't fight it. On the other end of that beautiful green light tube is my heart. It's a 1,000-petal white lotus with a little yellow center. And as you look at that 1,000-petal white lotus, you'll begin seeing pink hearts coming out and traveling down that tunnel and jumping into your heart eagerly. Your heart's thirsty. And as you watch my heart, more and more and more are coming. Focus on your heart, focus on that red flower, and look at that absorb the pink heart for the next moment. It's the only thing you need to do, and then just relax. Kali kedi na amari kedi da kedi kedi kadi kadi ari kabane do bolo kedi kedi kadi kadi kamari kedi kadi 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 kamari kedi mani skedi no josh kedi kadi 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 kamari kedi kadi 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 abani kedi kadi 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 kabani da kedi skur go ngeni am kedi kedi apa ati skur bunu to ani kedi ati mani kedi kadi amani ko ari kedi no to ni kedi 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 ka aki skur mu mi ari ka ani kedi ka o ni ani ka ani skedi no kabani ani skedi ati si ati hai ni segi ati si ati ni no mo ho ani ni ani gini chú đủ bộ đi tiêu ba đi nó đi đi đâu bộ có đủ bộ chú bộ có chú ba đi cái bộ được cái mấy số chú đủ bộ có chỗ đi phải cái số bộ có đủ mà chú chỉ đi mà ani ni đa đi cái đủ chú chú nó bộ đi ta ti ni ti à ni đi ni à ô mi à ni à sao có chú bộ ya đi ta kali please hold. We're being delivered. I'll let you know when we're done. Just relax into it. A lot of activity. I can see it all. You got this. Everything is perfect. You are perfect. You always have been. Almost done. Study poco you said a few more moments. You guys are getting a treat tonight. Wow. We got 30 more seconds. Release. And you're done. Wow. As you guys feel called to it, you can come out of that. Setelah pada kita sedia. So you're right, Patricia. Very intense. That was, you know, the energies that are delivered every time I do these meditations are different. It is astonishing to understand how it impacts people. Let me kind of word that a little differently. As I take you through the exercises of, as I say, following the bouncing ball, it's a distraction. It really is. It's designed to get you to do something so that you can allow the soul to come through and to receive the healing it needs. Because that's really the level we're working at. We work on the energy fields around you, which then move into the body across the different energetic layers. So I never know how it's going to impact anyone. All I know is that I usually tell people or ask, I don't tell anybody anything. I ask them to, if you had an experience, share, pop it into the chat window. You know, I had this, I had that, you know, whatever the particular thing is. I'll be doing this in every one of my podcasts. Every interaction you have with me, both on my Accelerated Ascension show or on a podcast when I'm interviewed, I will be giving away something for everyone. That was a mini version. If you want the full hour, hour and a half, whatever it ends up being, sign up for the transformational healing event that happens every 2 weeks. I'll let other people, there are people here that have been on there, and I'll let them tell you all about it.
I was going to say, are you ready for some questions and comments?
Yeah, I think we're you know, the comments I'm not so worried about necessarily, right? I mean, they're great, and you know, maybe we can talk about the comments, but I really want to get to questions and whatever that may be. So Kim, go ahead and just choose whatever you like. And by the way, thank you, Tiffany. So nice to see you, and I will see you this week.
Patricia says intense shifting. Trish says that was great. When you speak the light language, I get shivers literally. P. Palsy says I have balls of emotions that build and resist and then release.
Yeah.
Let me see here. I've got some more coming through. And then
I want to make a comment real quick here. So Patricia makes a comment, when you are a true channel, there are no presets and it'll always be different. And that's what you'll get with me. And let me explain that. You will never hear me or see me send out a newsletter that says, hey, please join me for the 8/8 activations or the full moon activations or the such and the such and the such. It's not the way it works for me. There's my beautiful friend Narnia, like, please allow her in. I got that. I'm not here to do the same thing as a lot of folks, and they do beautiful things. So please don't take that as an incorrect energy transfer. I'm here for very different things. Everything that comes through is uniquely coded for you individually. You are not getting a blanket activation across the board when you're in my presence doing my sessions or whatever. Everything is coded directly to your genome and your soul and your frequency, which is a little different than how it's been delivered up into this point. 2024 is a big year, a really big year, and you're going to see a lot of new folks like myself coming onto the scene to accelerate your ascension in very new, very, very new ways. So I just want to make a comment regarding Patricia. Nothing I do is canned. The visualizations may sound the same, right? But the meat and potatoes under the scene is not. So go ahead, Kim. What else we got here?
Jane says, beautiful, very emotional. Becky says, Ken, you removed a bunch of cooties from my husband, but he still had a soul aspect he is still holding on to, blocking his complete healing. Would the Hall of Records help if he's cootie free, of course?
I would defer that question to Patricia. The answer is yes. But to be clear, our beautiful attendee Patricia here, yeah, Oh, Trisha's telling me I could help him with that. Yeah. All right. So Holo Records, Live and Living Library. Patricia is part of my soul family, so we get along pretty good. And we've got another one, Arnarnia of Light, who has joined as well just recently. Is also part of the soul family that I'm traveling with. So yeah. Go ahead.
Larissa says, I danced with angels. How wonderful. Marianne says, I started to giggle inside. I swear I understood what they were saying and felt something release down my left arm. David says, letting go. Oops, sorry, it just messed up. David says, letting go of something I picked up today at work, coughing most of the day, and I felt and saw it leaving. Visuals and / feels. It reminded me of an
Ayahuasca.
ayahuasca ceremony. Sorry about that. Seeing it resist the removal and flowed out.
Very cool. David, I will not make you purge or puke. Okay. Just for those of you who have had the experience, not always that pleasant when you have to go through that. But yeah, it's very, very, very cool stuff. So with that being said, we've got a few minutes and I can stay on a little longer. If you guys have questions about what I do, how I do it, what I see, let's go ahead and start with those questions. I don't want to go down again the rabbit hole of healing individual things on this call. Join the transformational healing, and we can do that. So I guess the best way to do this is use the little hand button.
Got two more that came on.
Okay.
Francisco.
Cisco. His name's Cisco. Yeah.
Cisco is said, my body is definitely getting synced. Today I started to getting distorted energies in and around my ears, and then I remembered this was going on and I joined and everything has been removed.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's connected.
Yep. And the next one, my thing is not going well. I think it's Patty Winter. Besides heat and cold, etc., I am not aware of feeling any energies, good, bad, or indifferent. Would my thyroid issue be responsible, or do I have issues? Okay.
No, so in your particular case, you're not really ready to feel energies. You're not. Not everyone feels energies. You don't have to see and feel the tingles, if you will. You don't have to be able to visualize, as one person I said, I think the angel showed up. Those things don't have to happen for the shifts to occur. Again, we don't want to demand a validation of something in order to accept what is occurring. If you put the restriction on, I'm not going to be healed until I see a pink light in the sky, being funny. Well, that's what's going to happen. You're not going to find the pink light. You're not going to be healed because you put that resistance up. So remove the expectations of how you're supposed to respond to this event. Now, I will tell you guys, for the next 7 days, you're going to potentially feel a little off. All right. You may find yourself emotional, purging, tears, crying, whatever those things are. All right. Because the energies will need to be released, and that's the process. You may feel a condition in the body shift into another area. It may also feel a little more intense before it subsides. The bottom line is healing can be uncomfortable. And for the next few days, you may feel that uncomfortableness. You may have emotions. You don't know where they came from, right? Insomnia could be one. You may find yourself sleeping so much. Just recognize these shifts in your daily routine. That's the healing process, even if they're very, very subtle, okay? I do have when you attend the events, the transformational healing event, I do send out an after healing protocol of things that you should do. And I will share, one of the things you should absolutely do is ground, right? Ground. And whether they be outside, wrong time of year for 98% of the country, except here in Naples, Florida. We go barefoot all the time. You probably don't want to step outside in the snow. But find yourself in a Epsom salt bath, a shower, whatever these things mean for you to go through your grounding process. The transformational healing protocol it's on my website, but I don't have it linked just yet. I will get that up so you don't have to worry about, since I'm going to be doing these differently now. Cool. Kim, can you put in again just the contact information for me as well as the coupon code for everyone?
Yeah, I just did with the code.
Perfect. So did anybody have any questions they want to raise their hands and just ask general questions about me or what I'm doing, and we'll kind
So
of
we
stay
still
on.
have some other in the chat.
Oh, okay. What you got?
Vanessa says, very intense. I feel like something does not want to let go of me, keeping me ill.
Mhm.
Brooke
Okay.
says, huge heart visual with that release on left side, lower left and intestine side. Diana says, Ken, can you tell us which soul families are assisting us?
So let's stop with that for a second. That's a great question. I have a lot of people come to me and say, introduce me to my star family. Okay, no problem. That happens all the time. We'll bring them into a room, bring their star family into a room. I will teach them how to communicate to telepathically or through intuition and make that connection. I used to call myself a match.com for ETs, right? Matching people up with the ETs that they need to meet. But here's the caveat. I don't know who they are. I have discernment. I know who they are energetically, right? I don't let the bad guys in, but I'm not going to tell you what planet they're from, as an example. I'm not going to tell you what lives they're leading. All right. Those are too far down in the weeds for what I need to do at this point. So can I tell you which soul families are assisting us? All of them? I mean, ultimately, right? I mean, I can tell you there's thousands and thousands of ET races watching the Ascension right now. Everyone's trying to assist. So I can't tell you specifically, and I can't tell you individually at this point. One of the things that I do try to avoid is going down to the weeds. If you come to me to say, hey, tell me about the past life, where again, my shoulder's hurting, I'm not. But I'm going to bring that past life up. I'm going to take care of the condition, the situation, the root cause, and move on. And we're going to have a complete conversation that lasts 15 seconds for that to happen, right? Don't book a session with me to have me tell you your life in a particular time zone or on a particular planet. I'm not that guy. We got bigger things to do, and I have found too many times that when a story is shared about your past or a particular ET species is presented, as a human, we latch onto that. We dig in deep. Well, if I was that then, well, how does that impact me now? And why would I have done that in that past life? That makes no sense, right? Well, this particular species, they say it's good guys or it's bad guys. Which one am I? It gets so lost. So let's wipe that away because we're everything. We are all connected everywhere. So stop hanging our hat on a hook that says I'm a this or I'm a that, and just be a little bit of everything. Okay. Any other questions?
I've got one. Lanny says, all my love to you, my friend. Brooke says, hot tub is grounding.
Mhm.
Yep. Dennis says, thank you, Ken. Cheryl says, do you feel the earth consciousness along with the ETs that you work with?
So let's define the word feel, right? We talked about that earlier in the session. I don't have a root chakra, and there's a new grounding system that was put in place by my dear friend Arnarnia of Light. The ability to feel energies is coming online. Can I connect with Mother Earth? Absolutely. Can I talk to trees? If I want to, right? So I am connected, but I don't feel those consciousnesses in the same way just yet. Cool.
And that was
That,
it.
that was
Sorry
it.
if I missed anybody along the way. Sometimes it goes through and it goes fast, so I apologize if I missed
Yeah.
it.
So real quick here, and then we'll go. But Trish, I know you're always full of questions, Trish and Rob. Is there anything you guys want to ask about what's going on? If not, we're good. And unless there's more questions that come up, and you guys can raise your hand, and we can do a chat versus me just answering questions on the window as well.
And there's another question that just came up about you understanding light language you're speaking from Larissa.
Yes and no. And what I mean by that is when I'm in a session, one-on-one session, the language will come through and I will know within a reasonable understanding of what they're trying to do. Light language is funny. We're not going to hear it with words. We have to infer it. We have to feel the intuition. We have to feel into the energy to understand what's being delivered. And it's not words, right? It's information. literally is an information channel, whether it be codes and such, right? So sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. But often I don't. My good friend Quimby just showed up. Nice to see you, Quimby. It's been a while. So go
Yeah.
ahead. Yep.
Another one, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Trish.
Yep.
How can I keep this is a big one. How can I keep my chakras open? My policy.
As you're going through the struggles that you're going through, you will need to do your exercises daily, if you will, the bringing the light down through the chakras, expanding the chakras, both front and back. They're saying just to bring the white light down, all the way down to the root, shine it nice and bright, and then up, all the way up the chakras, right? Yes, they each have an individual color, but right now it's okay just to use the white light to clear them, if you will. The colors that you may be familiar with, the blues, the greens, the reds, the oranges, right, are wonderful for enhancing the frequency of each one of those, but to clear them, keep them open, you can use the white light.
It's wonderful. Becky or Becca
And one more thing. As you do the work with regards to the chakras and the other things, as you focus on that, and then you also do the other ascension work that's happening in your world, right? The releasing of judgment, the releasing of those lower emotions, those will begin to stay open. Your gifts will come on. We all have gifts. We all have gifts. As we do the work, you'll be getting more and more of those coming in for you. So there is an incentive to make yourself a little better, right?
Becky says, you said everyone is watching Earth's ascension. Is it true there will be two Earths, 5D versus 3D?
Yeah. Well, isn't there already? Isn't there infinite verses or infinite Earths, right? Listen, I'm ascended, and you're sitting here talking to me. Are we on the same planet? And we are, right? Same reality right now. We are. We have a shared reality, a shared experience. But I live a very different life. Everything that shows up in my world is already high vibration, right? I'm in the 5D plane, if you will. I live there, but I'm not on another planet per se. It's important that we all follow what we resonate with. And for me, heaven on earth, the ascension is now and here in my every moment, my every breath. I don't have to go someplace else to experience it. So bring in your version of your 5D ascension into your world by doing the inner work and ignoring the outer noise.
Okay. This one I think goes back with the chakras because he said they feel like the block right back up after opening them.
Yep. He's got a lot of trauma in there, and there's other yeah, he's got a lot of trauma, and he's got some other things in there that are blocking him. Kind of like the very was that people with Stacy, I think we were talking to, who had some other things that were keeping her from feeling right. Kind of the same thing with him. They say different but the same. There's active energies that are preventing movement forward for him.
Okay. Rob says, thanks, Ken. The red-faced being we talked about yesterday was lurking around again during your meditation, looking for attention. Any suggestions?
Don't give it to him. And by the way, Rob, I don't remember. And this is one of the beautiful things. When I'm doing a session with someone, no, we could do a session and we could walk out of the hall and I wouldn't remember we had a session. I mean, to some extent, like I don't remember a lot of your session, Rob, but don't give it attention. Tell it to go away. Tell it you're done. You don't need to. Yes, Quimby and Troy, I'd love to connect with you guys again when you're ready.
And
But
then
what's your idea? Go ahead.
there's a thank you from another Patricia. So
Yeah.
her name is, she says, my name is Patricia. One TR says, what degree of spirituality did you have as a child and shortly before your NDE?
None.
That-
I think I had a book, How to See Auras, right? Once in my life. That was it. Interested, don't get me wrong, but was not part of my life. I might have seen 2 or 3 psychics in my life prior to that for fun, right? No spirituality, no religion, no doctrine. I didn't have my hat hung on anything except cybersecurity and programming and left brain.
Okay. I don't have any more questions.
Okay. Cool. And Quimby, I see your message. Give me a call tomorrow. So,
Yeah, I don't
um,
see any hands raised either.
all right. I think we're good. It's top of the hour, a little late. I think I go to 8:30. I really appreciate everybody jumping on the Zoom at last minute notice. I will have my ducks in a row. We use that metaphor instead of some other ones that came to mind. I will have my ducks in a row for the next one, which will always be Wednesday. I believe it's 6:30 p.m. But what I recommend everyone, if you haven't already, obviously you did if you've got this, but on my website, sign up for the newsletter, and you'll get all the information as I get it. So, all right. I hope I see you guys again. And bring some good questions next time, right? Beyond the healing. Let's just talk about Ascension in general.
There were some
And
good ones this time. There were some good
yeah,
ones. Thank you.
yeah, absolutely, right. I won't be talking about me, the event anymore, and going forward. So ultimately, I've talked about my event for the past 2 or 3 years. What happened to me, my story is easy stuff. So next week's going to be a challenge, right? What are we talking about now? So, all right, guys. All right, I'm gonna let everyone go, and I appreciate everyone, and thank you so much for going on your journey and trusting in the process. Shukariya mani ana nikitutoria parakatiya nada. Namaste.